Fala galera, beleza? Estamos aqui em mais um vídeo. Agora a gente vai reagir ao novo vídeo dos desenvolvedores aí da Riot, do TFT. Vamos apresentar aqui o novo set, né? Nosso futuro 7.10. Set que vai mudar tudo de novo. A gente vai ter que aprender todas as sinergias, todas as características, novos champions, novas habilidades, tudo novo. E vamos ver o que vai vir de novo aí, né galera? Estamos ansiosos aí, o novo set aí, divulgando aqui pós a final do campeonato aqui, beleza? Deixa eu diminuir aqui.
Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Whitrock, design lead for our newest set, which I'm excited to introduce today. We're calling this set, drumroll please, Remix Rumble.
Batalha musical, nossa.
We've got a full playlist today, so I'll open with gameplay and then pass it to the rest of the lineup to chat music, cosmetics, ranked.
Eu já vi falar que vai ser baseado nas bandas, né, das skins, né?
And how different parts of Remix Rumble came together. All right, let's jump right into the bands. And by bands, I mean traits.
As bandas são as características, as características agora do set.
In Remix Rumble, you're the DJ, and the board is your turntable. By combining different traits, you'll create a medley of beats and genres. Let's start with familiar chart toppers, beginning with the ultimate pop stars, KDA. Get the entire lobby bumping with KDA and their most dedicated superfans. Position them just so, and you'll find yourself at the performance of a lifetime with incredible choreography and a bunch of bonus stats. Okay, let's make like a collie and hop over to the next band. True Damage and Pentakill are also in the mix.
True Damage,
and
Pentakill.
Both stay true to their names. True Damage grants extra attack speed. Wait, that can't be right.
True Damage dano verdadeiro vai ser baseado em velocidade.
And will gain a unique bling bonus that'll power them up as you itemize them. Oh, and before you ask, Akali will be able to be played in KDA.
Uai, vai ter as duas Akali agora.
Based on whichever band is trending at the time.
Assassina renegada, agora é renegado nas bandas.
Next. Pentakill members have damage reduction and bonus damage that increases as they score kills. And if your team manages to get a pentakill, then their bonuses will increase again. Just be careful in your exposure.
Pentakill é o Noxus agora.
Then there's Heartsteel.
A nova banda,
Heartsteel. And already making their mark on the convergence. These guys are ready to bring the energy and do whatever it takes for their fans. They may have started out underground, but they're certainly able to take you to the top of the charts.
Banda nova, mas vamos ver se vai ser forte.
If you can conquer their risky style. But we can't put on a proper remix rumble with only 4 bands. We also have some all-new groups entering the convergence. With original TFT looks, Lulu and Ziggs make up the cheery, ridiculous hyper-pop duo,
Lulu e Ziggs, velho.
Speaking of original TFT skins, Remix Rumble has plenty. There's a whole new class, Superfans, who show off their fandom with style. The trait pumps up your headliner, more on that later, by turning one or more of their items into Radiant items. My personal favorite new look is Bard, who is joining the Jazz Trio Freeflow. He and his meeps are looking as smooth as they sound. Before I get into the mechanics, let's head backstage to learn more about how we made some of these traits with Alex Cole and one of our lesser-known devs.
Já imagino, né? Quem que não conhece ele?
We knew set 10 was going to be our big music set, so when we think back of kind of like what the steps were, we knew we were going to have this big music moment. We were celebrating 10 sets of TFT, which was going to be huge. And really, we just kind of leaned right in and we were like, cool, we know we're going to do all these cool origins, and then we go through the process of what skin lines do we have available that we can tie those to. And luckily, we had a ton of cool and groovy skin lines, and we obviously played with them a little bit with like Space Groove becoming disco and some stuff like that. But, yeah, we were pretty quick to just turn right in and be like, oh wow, we have tons of things to pull from, which is really exciting.
So I'm pretty excited about Heartsteel. The economy trait is always a fan favorite of ours, but we've had this problem for a long time where the economy trait is you get it at 2-1 or you don't really play it. And so this time we took a very clear goal of how do you play it if you don't hit it at 2-1? And so what you can do is you can play it at any point in the game, and the more you've got, the bigger the payout. You try to lose by just a little bit, but even if you win, you're still going to be getting those fan, and then it's going to cash out after a few turns. And so you can even pivot into it in the late game, and I think that's going to be a real skill-expressive part of the game, is that ability to go, okay, I'm in a position where I can play Heartsteel for a few turns, and then get my reward, and then pivot back. And I think that's going to lead to a lot of really cool skill-expressive moments.
My favorite trait this set is definitely the country trait, which features our Desperado band. Historically in TFT, we've done a lot of really cool things with summon traits. We did Baron this last set, we did Innovator in set 6, and I'm really excited for Country to join those ranks. So with Country, we have something called the Midnight Horse, which is Hecarim, and when your champions sort of get lower or lose health, Hecarim will ride in and save the day. So operating a little bit like Galio from set 4, if players remember that one. So I think the challenges with these two is we kept trying to find the identity for each of them, and they ended up being really intertwined with each other. So there was a day where myself, Whitrock, the set lead, and Mort literally sat down and mapped out the entire set on a whiteboard. I don't remember who it was, but one of us was just like, oh, we don't have a summon trait. And we kind of played around with that. And on the flip side, we were also playing around with, like, is it risky to have our econ trait be one of the main verticals? Like, is that something we want to do or try? Which is really exciting. And we ended up going with it and kind of seeing those two traits in particular, like, kind of kept going back and forth and then changing shape with each other. But we were happy with how it all landed. Yeah, I would say it's pretty clear on this team that probably the biggest hard stand around. So KDA being in the set is a huge, exciting moment for me.
KDA é o básico do básico. A mecânica, ó.
When deciding which mechanics to include in Remix Rumble, we wanted to bring you a greatest hits playlist from past sets, starting with Runeterra Reforged. Portals are making a comeback. They'll have a bit less impact than some of the wilder ones from last set. We can do without you, Stillwater Hold, but they're sure to continue creating memorable moments. We won't be bringing back Legends.
Vai sair as lendas.
We learned a lot from seeing how Legends could influence the meta.
Nossa, muito, velho. Iniciava no meta, né, cara? Tem que ser nerfada toda.
Exploration and experimentation to be done in this space before we potentially revisit it, but we'll keep you updated along the way. Okay, back to what we're bringing back. One of TFT's most beloved mechanics is returning in an updated way. No, not augments, although we will be introducing new augments for Remix Rumble as well. I'm talking about headliners, our fresh take on the chosen mechanic from Fates. Headliners
é set que eu não joguei, eu não lembro desse headliner.
They appear occasionally in shops and are purchased at 2 stars. Headliners have tons of immediate power.
Ô, louco, você compra ela 2 estrelas já.
One of their traits. But here's where headliners diverge from chosen. Each one will have a
os escolhidos da item, né? O headliner tem efeito específico.
In a way that only a true fan would appreciate. Take Bard from the Jazz Trio, who improvises a few notes to either heal an ally or deal a bit of damage. When Bard is your headliner, every 10 casts will generate a meep that allows him to play 1 extra note on his first cast.
Qualquer uma peça pode ser headliner.
It's the type of headliner that will scale into the end game. Whether that scale is major or minor depends on how early you can get it. Some headliners will be difficult to find endgame carries. Take Yorick, a legendary unit who temporarily summons. When this headbanger is your headliner, the ghouls will be bigger and deal more damage.
Cara, vai aumentando os bichinhos do Yorick.
Thing about our mechanics. All of them will be harmonizing together. So keep an eye and an ear out for that. All right, let's check back in with Alex and Mort to talk more about headliners.
So early on, when we were exploring the different mechanics, we knew we were doing a music theme. And so we kind of had this image where it's like, okay, the band is all on there together, but what is it that makes it special? How can we twist it? And we kept coming back to, it's like, well, who's singing at the moment? Who's the star of the show?
Diretor do TFT.
And that kind of led us to a system we call headliner.
Cara que coordena
which was like,
tudo
okay,
lá,
you're going to pick who your headliner is. And we kept coming up with versions that were slightly different than Chosen, but had a lot of the same advantages. Chosen was one of our first big mechanics that wasn't just like galaxies or a variation. And it was something that allowed every champion to kind of be the centerpiece, right? Like you would tell stories of, oh, this was the game I got Silas chosen, and I did this thing, or this was the game I got Kennen chosen. But what was interesting is as we were kind of researching it, we realized that was before a lot of these other mechanics, right? Augments hadn't been around. And so a lot of the burden of the system has changed. And so as we were looking at this and kind of seeing all the pieces come together, it felt like kind of a greatest hits of TFT, which once we realized that was such a great opportunity to bring it all together. And so that's when we kind of anchored on Headliner being sort of the upgraded chosen. You know, we've got Radiant items, augments, portals, and it really does sort of feel like 10 sets worth of TFT knowledge all coming together to make this really awesome set.
I think with the Headliner mechanic, players will be most excited about the champ fantasies that it unlocks. So whether you are a player that really loves re-rolling those 1 or 2 costs, or you're a player that likes those 4-cost carry fantasies, Headliner allows you to do any direction you want every game, and unlocks a lot of variation, which is exciting. These are things that we never predict coming in, like what is the built different comp of this set? Like what are the combinations that we during production have no idea are coming, that we see videos of at 2 a.m. From China, and we're like, wow, that's amazing, I can't believe they came up with this idea.
Those cool combinations that keep you coming back and have an exciting payoff, I think is always what we're looking for when we're making new sets. It's like, what is the cool next thing to try out?
Hey everyone, I'm Cole Hicks, lead composer of Remix Rumble, and I'm here to talk about the heart of this set, the music. In Remix Rumble, each trait brings new sounds to your board. While you're building your team, you're building your track. Remix Rumble was an all-hands-on-deck moment for our team. Many different composers and collaborators created original music for each origin trait, and made it possible for all of it to meld together in any combination based on whichever units you have out on your board.
Mano, vai ter música enquanto tem batalha, velho. A junção dos estilos. São 2 faixas, né? De melodia e harmonia.
And as the game progresses, your track will too.
Cara, isso vai ser muito louco, velho, misturando a música com o efeito sonoro, será? Ou vai ter só música? Não. Então é uma música de fundo, né?
Starting with our disco band, the Disconauts. Their trait gives
Os
you a
Disconauts.
playful disco ball that will heal your allies and grant them attack speed.
Tarik,
As you get later
Nami.
into the game, you can add in
É o Blitz,
more
né? Quem que é esse
Disconauts
cara aqui?
to strengthen
TF?
the trait. Then you could add in a destructive splash
Ó, o
of Pentakill
Penta
for
aqui no
a
meio do
killer
Disconaut.
solo, soaring over it all. Now let's talk a bit about the tracks we wrote. For groups like KDA and Pentakill that already exist in the League IP, we tried to capture their instrumental essence with some TFT twists. And we brought in new genres like 8-bit and country, but more on those later.
8-bit country vai ser característica, né?
For Maestro,
Jim lendário, cara. Cara, merecido. Jim, pela história do Jim, cara. Lendário nesse set aqui vai ser foda.
And a champion whose ability builds up in a cadenza of damage. By putting out different units on your board, you'll create a symphony of controlled chaos. Try combining the relentless drums of Pentakill with our harpsichord heavy emo band, Big Savage.
A Vex, cara. Carry.
Maybe as your comp changes, you'll create music that features the bass of true damage alongside the groovy horn section of Disconauts.
Disconaut e True Damage.
Absolutely ridiculous. That's just TFT. All right, let's head backstage with the team for a quick recording session.
A gravação das músicas. Isso eu acho mais foda, velho. Os caras pegam os caras mais pica profissional, velho, pra fazer. Nossa.
That's great, man.
I mean, that was a pretty good first read down and, you know.
Moving on?
Awesome.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, let's move on.
Ó, terminou a terceira, já vai pra quarta.
I think one of the challenges of working on this set is the multiple genres and how they're going to be remixed into one another. There are a total of, I believe, 10 to 12 genres.
10 ou 12.
Some of them more bespoke than
Cara,
others.
cada
This is
sinergia vai
based
ter
on
sua
a
música,
virtual
mano.
band, but all of this are being done by 7 composers
7
together.
compositores.
So this is the biggest
Meu amigo.
collaboration within Riot composers that we have done for Teamfight Tactics.
Authenticity is both a goal and a challenge.
Disconauta,
because we're
viu?
doing so many different genres, and some of them have a fair amount of crossover as far as types of sounds and things that we're using. For example, we're doing a DJ Sona genre, but we also have a straight like EDM genre. And so you almost have to really lean into the things that might be different about those two things. Like we have this established thing that Riot has done versus a genre that already exists, and really kind of leaning into some of the more expected things that players are going to want to be hearing.
How do we make it so
também não
that
dá pra
each of
mudar
our
muito as
elements
músicas que
actually
já
stand out in a
existem,
way
né?
that right away an audience would be able to
Colocar no
be like,
TFT.
oh, like they're doing this punk rock thing without getting it confused with Pentakill, right? A metal band. They
Metal
both use guitars, they
pesado.
both use drums, they both use bass. How are those genres being executed differently and is able to be recognized by our players right away?
KDA is another example of like it's not just what are the things that make it sound like KDA. It's
Cara, já
what
tem
are
uma
the things that make
identidade
it
já,
sound
né,
like
mano?
KDA if just the
A
drums
banda,
are
as
playing,
bandas.
or if just the chords are playing.
Eles só mostram as músicas
One of
menos
the cool things about this set is that it is supposed to be a bit crazy sometimes. So we were able to sort of like lean into it, being like, "Oh, that sounds a bit silly."
Yeah,
but it's
and some
kinda
surprising
cool.
things came
Yeah.
out that were really cool. Like, for example, I think we discovered that saxophone solo over Heartsteel is very cool. We have also
Nossa, vai ser uma
discovered
mistura
that
louca,
violin
mano.
solo on top of Jason's EDM track is very cool.
Very cool. And we would have never made those choices as composers.
Cara, tem o Império.
Normally, it's okay to lean into the silliness sometimes because it is a fun idea and it's supposed to be fun.
Right.
Aquele
Where
frame
other
ele é
genres
novo ou
obviously will
antigo?
work
Não
in a way
reparei.
where you're like, oh, that's like, I would put that on my playlist and listen to it.
Yeah. For us, the collaboration is a little chaotic, and I think that's also
Vai
us
ser
embracing
caos
that
todo.
energy of like,
A
we're not
Riot é
entirely
caos.
sure if this is gonna work,
Deve
and we
ter,
just
então,
kind of,
meu
you know,
Deus.
like riding with the flow and write what we believe in, and then we come together and let's hear how this is gonna go.
TFT is the space where, as a composer, I get to play around the most and, you know, basically try whatever
Vai
fun
ser o
ideas I might have.
estrategista
The
e
team's very open to
DJ,
experimentation.
compositor.
So, from that perspective, even though it is a fair amount different than anything we've done in TFT before, I think TFT is the perfect place to do it. And I think the players of TFT are also really on board with these kinds of fun ideas.
100%.
Já tô curtindo novas arenas estrategistas. Aí vem os cosméticos, né?
I'm Ananda Gupta, design director on TFT.
Ananda.
Today,
O nome do cara é
I'm here to give
Ananda,
an
velho.
update on cosmetics. And then I'll
E
talk
não é
about
Nick não,
Raid,
é nome
as well
dele.
as a much anticipated release for many of our players, the Asia Pacific mobile launch. We're thrilled to bring more high-quality
Asia
personalization
Pacific.
that will be released throughout the
Já
start
não
of Remix
tem
Rumble.
mobile, mano.
Ahead of
Deve
that,
ter
we want to give
mobile.
you a sneak peek and equip you with an understanding of the release schedule, both to prepare collectors as well as inform folks who want to nab their favorite. Chibi Set and Chibi Heartsteel Set have entered the building, and they're looking to pull off a heist straight to the top of the lobby.
7
Chibi
Chibi.
Heartsteel Set moves fast and will
Vai
depart
ter
the
os
treasure
dois,
realms
7
after the first
Chibi e
2
o
weeks of the
Heartsteel.
Remix Rumble. And if you want more, the KDA Arena is definitely more. Drop your comp smack dab in
Uma
the middle
arena
of the
da
KDA
Kali,
show
velho.
and take top 4.
Ah, mas a arena
Or
da
bottom
Kali
4.
tem uma
It
área
won't
ali
matter
também.
with an arena this stunning. After 2 weeks, Chibi KDA Akali will screech onto the
A
scene.
Kali Chibi.
Then, the moment I've been waiting
A
for,
Kai'Sa,
KDA
nossa,
Kaisa will
velho,
hit the
muito top.
convergence 3 weeks into the set.
KDA.
She and KDA Akali will be available through Treasure Realms that will only last until our next event. Each drop will provide high-value content from chibis to mythic
Ah,
myth
mano,
legends,
legal,
and even
vamos
a chance to
voltar,
get a
ó, as
random
pequenas
chibi
lendas que já
like
tem.
Dragonmancer Ash or Star
Extra
Guardian Lux.
Comante, Lux
But the
Guardião
biggest title
Estelar.
of those collector capsules is KDA Kaisa. Kaisa is the centerpiece for players looking to flaunt that extra special drop.
Eu quero.
Prestige treasure realms are full of high-value offerings from past sets. So, whether you're a collector looking to pick up something you missed, or a
Isso é
little
bom,
legend
hein?
enthusiast just getting
Ah,
your
mas
first chibi, no matter
Você
what you
poder
hit,
pegar o
it's bound to
que
hit
já
hard.
foi lançado
After
antigo e,
Remix
não,
Rumble
e
ships,
queria ter e não
we've got
tem,
even
mano.
more work ahead
Bom,
of us. We know players want more say in what they purchase, And we're working towards exactly that in a system we're internally calling the seasonal store.
A loja
We're
sazonal.
not quite ready to go into the finer details yet, but I am ready to get into Remix Rumble's pass. Remix Rumble
Ó o passe de batalha, ó.
3 sets a year, and we're updating our pass structure to reflect that. We'll still have 2 passes in
Meu
every set.
Deus,
But since
2.
sets now last 4 months, each pass will be 2 months long. So, we're
2
redistributing
meses cada
rewards and
passe.
accelerating pass
Rapidão,
progression
mano.
to make all the rewards easier to obtain. Not every pass will look the
Aí
same.
vai dinheiro, né?
Each Pass Plus will have different high-value rewards. For
Tem
example,
que custar
you'll see a
metade do
new
preço
Neon
também,
Stage
né?
Arena in Remix Rumble's first pass, and in the Rumble's
Olha essa
second half,
arena.
Sugar Cone
Puro
4.
sorvetinho.
And just as our pass is changing to accommodate 3 sets a year, our ranked season is also changing.
Isso, gente, no ano. Ó, ranked, cara.
Like League of Legends, we're adding Emerald here to our ranked ladder,
Esmeralda!
while also recognizing the skill progression. that
Agora
players
sim
show
eu vou sair do
in Platinum Diamond.
platina, né?
This comes at the perfect time. Oh my God! As we transition to creating 3 sets a year and 3 ranked seasons to go with them. Without mid-sets, there's no soft reset of your rank throughout the season, so you'll have more time to track your progress on the expanded ladder, prove your skill, and get new Emerald rewards. We're not looking to make the climb harder. Emerald and a longer season should mean a smoother, more consistent climb overall.
Caraca.
We know TFT is a more chaotic game than League, and we don't want to punish or reward you too much for performance outliers. You can play great and still low roll in TFT, and our ranked system should and will reflect that. Okay, before you get too excited and queue up for
Aí,
ranked,
o mobile.
let's chat mobile.
Vai ter pro
The
mobile
launch of
agora.
Remix Rumble in late November will be the first time TFT is available on mobile in APAC regions.
É,
And we're shipping a
é
number of
o mobile lá
improvements
pro
along with this launch
Atlântico,
that will
Ásia
impact the
Pacífico.
entire world. But first,
Pra
I
região,
want to
né?
thank our APAC players for their patience. We've been working towards bringing mobile to you since we launched it during Galaxies, and we know that you've awaited its arrival ever since. In preparation for this launch, our Tools and Engine team has been hard at work making mobile usability, stability, and performance improvements. And for the tablet players out there, one of these improvements is tablet support.
Ó, o
On
tablet.
Remix Rumble, you can say
Vou comprar
goodbye to
tablet
black
agora.
bars and wonky scaling when playing on tablet, and hello to a smoother,
Rodar
prettier
no tablet, mas
tablet-tailored
era
experience.
ruim, né?
We've seen a ton of anticipation for TFT Mobile in APAC and tablet support across the world, and we can't wait to kick it all off with Remix Rumble. So, APAC players, make sure to pre-register for our launch, as we'll be offering multiple pre-registration milestone rewards, from treasure tokens to a new little legend, Boba T-River Sprite.
Chazinho.
And if you're not in APAC, don't worry, this little sprite will eventually be available to everyone.
Ah, zoeira, cara.
Was that the
zoeira.
last boba?
Acabou o chazinho?
Okay. Hey everyone, Sherman back to talk about all things TFT esports.
Meu Deus, torneio, mais torneio. Las Vegas,
It's been
cara.
awesome to see the growth of TFT esports over the last few sets. We've seen 3 sets of steady viewer growth for set championships, and with the Runeterra Reforged Championship, we're hoping to make it 4. We're about 5 weeks out from our first global LAN event, the TFT
5
Vegas
semanas. Vai, mais de
It'll be
mês.
from December 8th through the 10th, with 512 competitors from around the world as they take over the MGM Grand.
Nossa.
I first want to say that we were blown away by how quickly competitor passes sold
Oh,
out.
será que os 512
We can't wait to
presenciais,
see
velho?
you battle it out there. The event happens early in Remix Rumble, testing players' ability to adapt, innovate, and lead the meta. This is a moment where players from anywhere can step into the
Acaba com
spotlight
os
and become
caras, mano.
IRL headliners.
Testar o set
The
no
player that comes
comecinho.
out on top will walk away with $100,000, a trophy, and most importantly, the TFT Vegas Open title. And even if you don't get
louco.
first, the 128 players who make it to day 2 will win a piece
Cara,
of the
300 mil no
$300,000
total, o
prize.
primeiro já fica com 100.
And all
100 mil
512 players
dólares.
who participate in the event will get a unique emote based on how far they make it into the tournament. But don't worry, the Vegas Open won't be a replacement for a championship.
Vai,
Now that we
Brasil!
switched over to 3 sets a year, we're adjusting to have a competitive season for each one. So rest assured there will be a Remix Rumble Championship at the end of the set. It'll be the culmination of Remix Rumble, so we have high expectations for the comps players will bring to the finals, now that they've had a chance to master the set. For those of you competing in Vegas, PvE goes live the second week of November. So get out there and
Novembro, ó.
start crafting
Novembro
your
a PPE.
go-to comps.
Meu, vai ser o
As for everyone
caos.
else, we're super excited for our first ever LAN event, and we hope to see you all there, either in person or digitally. All right,
Thanks so much for watching. Good luck and have fun out there. Till next time.
Nossa, tô imaginando já, cara. Que vai ser loucura, velho. Hello. Valeu, galera, até mais. Eu fico aqui. Obrigado por assistir esse vídeo. A gente se vê no próximo vídeo aí. Show. Obrigado.